Hey y'all, you ready to try out another auction? Mystery is still out on whether or not a small reseller without a following can actually run an auction on eBay and be successful with it. So I want to try this again. I have a somewhat decent collection of matchbooks, match covers that I got all together, I believe, in one estate auction, and they had come in a big glass jar. I don't know how serious the collector of these was in collecting. I'm not 100% sure what all I'm looking at here. I know that there's collectors out there for them, but I've never sold match covers, matchbooks, matches, anything match like. I thought we'd kind of take a look at some of these, and I've picked through ones that I think would maybe be of a little bit more value or interest to collectors. There's a wide variety of areas that people collect in, anything down to, pre-war, cartoon, airlines, railroads, some restaurants, of course, casinos. You can go into universities and military, and the list goes on and on. Girly ones, and ones that have pictures printed on the matches themselves, and there's a whole lot. I've done a little bit of research into the history of, the match cover, match book, and just kind of how that all came about. And I'm going to go over some of that with you guys, and then we can go over some of these as well. A little bit of info on match books, or as they were called, the book match. Originally, there was a lawyer who in his spare time was also a chemist, naturally, and his name was Joshua Pusey. And he, in the early 1890s, I think 1892, had patented, he had just previously invented the match book, or book match as we more so know it today, or closer to that as we know it today. And he patented that. He stuck like 10 of them in a just plain white cardboard sort of folding sleeve, and sold those to Mendelssohn Opera House, I believe it was. And they then in turn went and hand printed images and information on him regarding players in the opera and things like that. And those sold pretty quickly. The first phosphorus friction matches were manufactured in the United States in 1836. And by 1875, there were 79 manufacturers in the U.S. Joshua Pusey, as I was just saying, invented the matchbook in 1892. And then Diamond Match Company purchased the rights to the matchbook in 1894. And the American match industry, as we know it today, took off. The first match cover ad appeared in 1894 through 95 with the appearance of the famous Piso match cover. So I think it's important to note that today there are only, I believe, 4 manufacturers in the U.S. left of matches. So the 1870s, we were about 79, 80 manufacturers, and now we're at 4. The first machine-made matchbook was made by the Binghamton Match Company in Binghamton, New York, for the Piso Company of Warren, Pennsylvania. By the early 1900s, they were right there next to advertising in newspapers, movies, radio. They were right there with it all. It wasn't too long after that, in the early 1900s, that they were literally printing them into the billions. Most of the matchbook covers that were from the late 1800s going up to the 1930s are virtually impossible to find. A lot of collectors are looking for ones in that more mid-century time frame. So you're looking at the 40s through the 60s primarily. 30s are good too. But that's kind of the sweet spot for a lot of the collectors on where they're looking for old. For them, old is pre-World War II. So you're going right up there into the late 30s is ideal. But of course, those are I'm sure a little bit harder to come by. Although the ones that you do are pretty run of the mill. So getting rich on selling matchbook covers, well, I'm not sold on that idea. But are there collectors out there for it? You bet. And just go onto eBay and search vintage matchbooks, match covers, however you want to put it in there. And go in and toggle your sold and completed listings on so that you can see all the actual sold ones, not just what people are asking. And it's kind of interesting. 9 times out of 10, if not more, they're sold in lots. Usually the ones that are commanding higher prices are obviously the larger lots, or ones that they are higher in collector value, older ones, obviously scarcer ones. But it is interesting to look at that and see just how much can actually be made on match covers. It's not a niche that I personally want to get into that deep. I think it's interesting, and I really think the history is interesting. I suggest if you're ever bored one evening, try going and looking up the history of matches and do a little deep dive on it. So anyways, that's some of the basic background on match covers. Again, I don't encourage people to necessarily go into this niche unless it's something you're familiar with, you feel comfortable with. But for me personally, I wouldn't suggest this specific niche for anybody because, in all honesty, there's not a ton of resale value, it seems anyway, except for in those extremely scarce and or rare pieces that realistically not many of us are likely to come across. So if you're going to spend your reselling efforts in a specific area, I would go postcards before I went match covers. Nonetheless, I got these in a lot, and that means we're gonna take a look at them. And we're going to see about putting a lot together for them. My plan is just to sell them all together. Some of the more interesting ones that I found, I kind of put over on this side of the tray. And these ones over here are a little bit more mundane, more just restaurants and stuff. This one is Columbia Match Company, Cleveland, Ohio, Ports Ocal, and it has the front strike. So in the 70s, I think it was 1973, there was a federal regulation that was passed that required manufacturers to move the strike strip from the front onto the back. Of course, they did some conditional things where whatever stock they had already, they didn't have to throw away, they could use that up. So you still saw the front striker up until about 1978. But that is one way that you can kind of judge how old it is. So once that's moved to the back. Now there are some older ones that it is already on the reverse. Manufacturers, I believe in the early 1920s, were already putting it on the reverse. I don't know why, but they were. However, on those ones, you'll see that the strike strip tends to be wider than your average one. The other thing is on those is that the total length, let me set this guy down. If you open this up, the total length of it will be longer than your average match cover. So those are a couple things I do know to help gauge on age. So here's a couple other interesting ones. Del Webb's Kulima. It's in Hawaii. I'm so sorry. I know I'm not saying this right. But Del Webb's International. It's a hotel. One of these I think is full and the other one is empty. And I don't know what value those would have. They're from Diamond Match Division, Phoenix, Arizona. This one here I thought was pretty interesting. Fisherman's Wharf, I believe it says. Your choice of 2 fine restaurants, delicious Hawaiian seafood in a nautical atmosphere. This was Kewalo Basin or Honolulu. So it's kind of plain, but it's I don't know, it's kind of got some of the older graphics on it. And of course, it has that front striker, so we know it's pre-1978 at least. Another way I had read, people can kind of tell age, is down here. It says close cover before striking. So there's sometimes these little like footer messages on the bottom of the flap here. This one was advertising specialist Hawaii, Honolulu. So who did this one? This one here is interesting. Zulu, Duke something. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. It's from Waikiki. On the back, Polynesian jade. Strikers on the back on this one. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, just the graphics on these alone is pretty neat. Let me show this one to you again now that I've got it focusing better. Fisherman's Wharf, Honolulu. Here's a little box one. It says Pete Mueller Enterprises, Korea. This one here, I really don't know nothing about, but it looked interesting. I like kind of the graphic on it. So it was 3 torches, damp proof, trans/match ink, Kerner, Louisiana. So and it's got the striker thing here and little box of matches. I think they call these pocket boxes, something like that. Rosebud matches, 1977, Ohio Match Company. Here is what appears to be an older diamond match box. I don't know. This one doesn't have a date on it or anything. I haven't counted these out yet, but he seems to be pretty full. But it's Diamond and International Corp, Diamond Match Division, New York, New York. These ones here are interesting. Telephone Pioneers of America. Go look them up. Interesting history. This is for Charles S. Gleed, Chapter 38. And there's the side of it there. I don't know the age on these ones either. The back here just says, whoops, made in Sweden. I've got 6 of these little ones here. Then we got the gold buffet. Again, front striker on that. So pre-78 at least. Seating thousands, 10 party rooms, steaks, Pirates Club, entertainment nightly. Hey, it sounds pretty good. The gold buffet. Who made these? Lion Match Company, Carteret, New Jersey. Then NCO Open Mess, Fort Leavenworth. I've got 3 of these ones. Tandra's Country Smorgasbord, where the West begins and the East peters out. Smorgasbord menu service carry out. Product of Japan. Ad Match Corp, New York. Oh. Have your next affair here. 2 private party rooms. Not just one. No. 2. 2 private party rooms. Civic Plaza National Bank, Kansas City, Missouri. And it's just got so it's like a little seasonal one. Can you imagine? We used to give these out in banks. Deposit and matches, please. You could smoke in the bank in line. You could smoke in the airport, in the airplane. Anybody recognize this one here? You got Camel. Right on. Genuine taste. And what's the top say? Do not distribute these matches or tobacco products to minors. But we're going to put a cute animal on it with a yin yang. Oh boy. Camel in harmony with a balanced universe. Offer restricted to smokers 21 years of age or older. Oh, here's a date, 1995. Genuine taste. For your free catalog, call that number in there. There's some of them missing, but I did like the graphic on there. It is kind of neat for a slightly vintage graphic. I know actual collectors of matches are going to say, no, it's not. That's not old. I know, but it is vintage technically. So another one, a Camel Genuine Taste. Oh, these are both by D.D. Bean and Sons. If you stare at this matchbook too long, you'll become hypnotized. What does that say? Or maybe your eyes will hurt and you'll throw up. So Camel just went in the hearts of the masses, I guess, right there. Who thought that up? Who went in the boardroom and said this is the slogan. This is it. Stare at this long enough and throw up. Now, I bet they got paid good. Barclay Inn. There we go. Barclay Inn. That one kind of had a cool picture, whatever, on the inside. Down there it says, an Associated Host Inc. restaurant 10/79, Universal Match, Los Angeles. For Holiday Inn. The world's innkeepers, aren't they though? So it's talking about advanced reservations by computer. So we know we're in the 90s somewhere. For you youngins, we didn't do online reservations prior to the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there. And then this one, Season's Greetings. And it was another Holiday Inn. That is kind of a cute festive one though. Diamond Match Division, New York, New York. And then these ones, I have two of these. They were just basic Wegbrett and Associates. I don't know. Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, nothing fancy about these. That was for your lower tier guest. Those are bathroom matches. But I have several, just like old hotel ones. Here's kind of a neat one. Red Lion Inn. That's a front striker, so it's pre-78. Ottawa's finest restaurant and lounge. Nothing fancy in there for it. Maryland Match Company, Chicago. So who made that? I had some more Season's Greetings. These ones are the pocket box. Again, American Ace by Universal Match, St. Louis. And these were done for Dutch Inn in Florida. The Country Diner Playhouse, Inglewood, Colorado, reservation only. Pocket Box, Diamond Match Division, Denver, Colorado. This one here, Chuckwagon Dinner Playhouse. Pocket Box, Diamond Match Division, Denver, Colorado. And this one here, I don't know what they had on top of here. Whatever that glossy stuff is, people have on, business cards. That's kind of what it reminds me of. And it got near the heat or something. I don't know. Or maybe it just occurs with age. But it's Paul Scaglia's Italian Restaurant and Lounge. But it has the front striker on it. So we're pre-78. Blue tip matches. That's neat. I don't know on this, is this a normal age thing that collectors would accept in this? I don't know. I'll still put it in the lot. Victoria Station. Purveyor of prime rib and Potable spirits. Wouldn't you know it? San Francisco and other cities. Pageant, San Francisco, California. Made in Japan. And here's these little guys. I have two of these. They got front strikers. They are the old Washington, what does it say? Street Station. And this was in Kansas City, Missouri. But these are like little mini matchbooks. Lion Match Corp of America, Kansas City made these ones. Got one for Bonanza. Atlas Match Corp, Arlington, Texas. I believe this one's full. I mean, there's nothing fancy going on in here, but I believe he's got all his matches. Look at that old Red Lobster. American Match Company, Atlanta, Georgia. Again, nothing fancy in there, but how neat. Got Hereford House, Kansas City, Missouri. This one's kind of rough. He's kind of stained. Probably got a little drink on him or something, but it's still kind of a neat one. I like this one here just because the style of it just looks older, and then I'll show you the back of it. It's kind of neat. So it's for a motel in Kansas City, Missouri, and I don't know if this one's still around or not, but here is the entertainment at this hotel. The Golden Terrace, the Orient Room. I mean, they look like they're having a blast. I don't know. I just love the graphics on it. And then on the inside, see if it says computer. No, they got a barbershop, beauty shop, swimming pool, playground, 2 dining rooms, entertainment, dancing, cocktail lounges, coffee, room service, automatic dial-in. Automatic. Can you imagine? Front striker, so it's got to be pre-78. I mean, he's kind of in rough shape, but that right there, that's what sold me. I liked it. Here's older Motel 6 one. The Stable Club, Alabama. Atlas Match Corp, Alabama. Nothing fancy there. So that's kind of the rundown for the matches that I have, and a little bit of history on the matches too, just in general. So I'm thinking we'll try another auction and see what it does. I definitely don't want, I mean, this is a perfect example of something, for me at least, that I don't want to spend the time listing individually, and that's a lot. And then waiting for each of these to sell. I mean, that's unlikely to probably even happen. So in my mind, the best solution with something like this is to put it up for auction and, hope for the best, I suppose. I'm still under the impression that to run an actual successful auction requires that you have a little bit of a following, but I also think that there's a lot to be said for what it is that you're listing. So something like this may or may not win many bids, may not win any bids at all. I have no idea how this will go. This is very far out of my wheelhouse of things that I have sold, including ephemera things. So I'm just not sure on this, and I'm interested to find out. I'm anxious to do it, to run the auction, just to find out kind of how these do, because I have no clue. It'll be a learning experience for me. I'm trying to figure out best ways to photograph them. Should I single some of them out in the listing, like in the description? Should I, list some of the match manufacturer companies, or, is it just kind of a free-for-all? Look around and see what you see. So I don't know if anybody has any ideas on that. I'll be working on getting this posted here over the next day or two and see how it does. Hopefully I'm impressed. Hopefully it does great. I don't know. We'll see. It's things like this that I don't see or hear too many resellers talk about. There are certain ones that their niche kind of falls in line with this, and so even if they're not their primary target for what they sell, it certainly comes across their path more often than, say, mine, and many of the other resellers that I listen to or watch or what have you. And so I just thought, since I had come into a small loot of them, that I would take advantage of that and share it with you guys. And I'll keep in touch with you and let you know how the auction's going. We'll set it for 7-day auction. I'll start the bid at $5 again. I may try the promoted listing. I will do a little follow-up video and let you guys know. But any suggestions or information, advice, I'm all ears. Let me know. I'll see you guys on the next one.